Hello everyone, this is the Full Speed Leader 2.5. Up front and center we have the Caddx Micro F2 camera, F3 flight controller with an OSD, 28 amp 4-in-1 ESC running D-Shot 600, power switchable through Smart Audio VTX, 25 milliwatts, 100 milliwatts, 200 milliwatts, 400 milliwatts, and 600 milliwatts. Full speed 1106 7500 kV motors. Comes with several different receivers. Mine's FR Sky, XT30 for your battery connection, 2 LEDs, and a buzzer. The SE edition comes with this canopy. Stock it comes with 2535 King Kong props. With the Gym Fan 2540 props it weighs 86 grams. With the SE canopy, it weighs 93 grams. Bottom plate's 3 millimeters. Pod plates are 2 millimeters. Motor post to motor post, I'm getting about 117 millimeters. As we get started on this flight, it's worth noting why I switched from the stock props. And I did talk to Lewis about this a bit. And apparently Gym Fan props are very, very expensive in China, and the King Kong props are much less expensive. I felt that the King Kong props didn't tune as well, as I also felt that the flight time was quite a bit shorter. You know, a good anywhere from about 10 to 17 seconds shorter on my average flight. So I felt that I got better grip for my type of flight and also better punch, as well as a little longer flight time with the Gym Fan props. Of course, props are temporary, so we're going to eventually have the opportunity to change those once you bend up even one of the stock props, because it only does come with one set of props. The Caddx cameras tend to have a little bit of a reddish hue, but I don't think it's very bad. I would say that this fall type of coloration is going to draw it out a little bit more than you might find during the lusher or greener months of the year. I think the cameras are pretty good. Of course, there is a little bit of an issue that you can see from Caddx cameras from time to time, and that is the fact that sometimes it seems like within their assembly that you might see a smudge or a little piece of dirt or dust on the sensor or somewhere internally to where you might pick up a dark spot. It's actually something internally that is obscuring the view a little bit. And sometimes it's very, very hard to notice, but other times it's quite prominent. But that's something that we have to kind of expect, it seems like these days, within a budget camera. Typically the Caddx cameras that we see, you know, they'll come in a little bit on anywhere from $7 to $10 less than we might find from, say, Runcam or Foxy or things of that nature. You do see during this flight that there's a little bit of chop. Every once in a while I think I might have my P's just a touch high, or maybe I need to pump up the D's a little bit. Of course, I don't fly necessarily in a manner that allows that to easily come out, but you've gotten the opportunity to see several punches and some quick turns and see how it handles, and we come in with a flight time that's just a touch over 2 minutes, and I did find that that was about on par with most of my flights. They did come in right around the 2-minute marker. When you actually count the landing time, you get about 2 minutes and 10 seconds, sometimes 2 minutes and 12 seconds. You have several different models from Full Speed you can pick out. If you want to go traditional 2.5 inch, this might be the model for you. They also have a 3-inch edition, which we've seen on the channel already. I'm actually going to be revisiting that because of new motors that have come out. Some people had some problems with their motors. I didn't, but I think on longer punch outs, say 3+ second punch outs, those motors would be an issue. These don't seem to be an issue because they are different motors. They're higher kV, they're 1106 motors, and you find that they do have pants, or they have the solid bottom on them, so you don't see the windings and the internal workings of the motor. It is worth noting a little bit that without the canopy, you don't get a whole lot of battery lead security. It does feel firm in there, but I wouldn't fully expect this to necessarily keep, you know, the hardest of battery ejections from coming off. So that's something to note. You may want to dab some of your favorite adhesive down in there, something that's removable like welder, just to give it a little extra security, because as you can see on these wires, they do come up a little bit. This does help to secure it down, but it's not hard pressed in there. And the LEDs that we see here, we have a couple little slots that are integrated into the frame, so this won't come out. I found the buzzer to be good and loud, nothing to really note there. Also the flight stack, you know, we have a power switchable VTX. It goes clear up to 600 milliwatt, and I would say if you're running 600 milliwatt, I wouldn't leave it sitting armed on the ground very long. I would get it in the air relatively quickly. You know, the VTX has created heat, you know, pumping out all that extra power so we can get that extra reception and penetration. So it's fully expected to get warm. The little all-in-ones really get warm. This one in the flight video, I was running 200 milliwatt, but if you do run 600 milliwatt, I would suggest not leaving it sitting there on the ground for 5-10 minutes. If you notice anything on the screen when you're running 600 milliwatts that seems off, maybe the colorization or anything like that, either get it in the air to cool it or unplug it and then lower your milliwatt, because these VTXs, you don't want them burning out, because then you have to rework your machine or you have to wait for parts. Speaking of parts, if you're not familiar with the leader, you can buy all these components from the FullSpeedRC.com website. They tend to ship a little bit speedier than other vendors, so you can pick this one up directly from FullSpeedRC.com. The current pricing comes in at $128.99 from Full Speed. If you choose to go the Banggood route, it's $132.99. Oftentimes you can choose free shipping with Banggood, versus on Full Speed's website you usually have a little bit of a shipping cost. And it's going to vary depending upon where you're shipping it to, but they do ship DHL, so you tend to get your package in a little better shape and a little better time. You may have noticed in the flight, and you can look at it here, that my camera angle isn't quite what it typically is, and also notice that connector is very, very close. You can get the camera below that connector, but there's those degrees of angle right in with the connector that you can't get, because the connectors do hit or stop it from keep going lower. So you may have to finagle that if you want to crank the camera angle up in order to get it past that just a little bit. Pretty much you just take the screws out, move the camera forward, tilt it back down, put it back into the slots, and then screw it back down. So you will get more camera angle than you might otherwise, but you do miss those few degrees right there where the connector is. It does come with the antennas secured. I did break one of mine, so if it doesn't look stock, especially with this clear heat shrink on there, I did break one of mine in a crash. I do have one dramatic crash that I'll show you here in the top right hand corner, where I plunder this thing right into a tree. I did secure down these motor wires. I did find them a bit loose, so take your favorite tape of choice or whatever mechanism you want to use, zip ties, to secure those motor wires down. I do think there's enough length in there that they could possibly get into the props. I noticed mine, especially, I think it was this arm right here, because you can see they're a little bit unorganized, that it was coming up a little bit, and so that made me secure them back down. I didn't mention it in the quick roll, but it also comes with a Full Speed branded battery strap, and I use Duralock on all my micro batteries because I just feel that holds a little bit better. It makes it a little bit easier to manage placing the battery on and off. And then we have the Full Speed logo. Wherever you see a frame with this little yin yang logo, that is a Full Speed logo, regardless of the brand that it's on. You may note that the XJB145 had this logo for a long time. That was sold under a different brand. Apparently there was a business breakdown between the two companies there. So something to note when you're looking at products, if you want to know if it's actually from Full Speed or not. If it has that and it doesn't have the Full Speed brand on it, then someone's doing something dodgy. As per usual, Full Speed, it does come with PID tunes, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about PID tuning unless you want to get that nth degree to tune to make the PIDs more personal to you and how you like to fly and how you like it to feel when you're flying. They do have this to where you can run it on 2 and 3S, so if you're a 2S pilot, the PIDs should work just fine. You may find on 2S that you want to pump them up, especially the P, just a touch, because usually when you find PIDs for 2 and 3S, the 2S ones will be a little bit soft. It may be a little bit more of a connected feel on 3S. I'll put a link down in the description. Remember, there's two versions. If you like the canopy version, which has a little shark fin, which is handy for turtle mode, which is set up on the machine, that's a little bit more. They have several colors you can pick from. I would encourage you to check the website if you want to look at the colors available, because these could change at any time. Of course, Lewis sent me the blue one, which I do like quite a bit, and the print is pretty good. So I can't really complain about the print at all. And this does have the additional feature. It will help a little bit to hold down your battery lead wire a little bit with these grooves. And you get your screws through there to pinch it down just a touch. So that is a good thing. And it also cleans up your antennas a little bit if you place this. This, of course, will hold your VTX antenna. And then one of these two sides is where you put your control link antenna. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, let me know in that section down below. I appreciate your time. And thanks for watching.